Obstürmt oder steigt
und die Sonne uns lacht, der Tag glühend heiß oder eiskalt.
Hello everybody on YouTube, this is Stormgeshoots4, also known as Goobulus. This is a, let's see, 1, 2, it's a 5-player. Yeah, 5-player free-for-all last man standing battle. I don't normally do last man standing. I mean, I do on occasion. I prefer scored resolution, but you know, this works. I command the Carthaginians here, since I've done so well with them so far. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I believe I have 4 sacred bands, 2 Poini. I've got 4 Balearic slingers and 3 sacred band heavy cav. Let's go over here to the Seleucids. We're deployed down the bottom of this hill for some reason in this little valley. He has 6 cataphract units. Has 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoop. Okay. He has 5 Silver Shield Legionnaires and 4 Silver Shield Pikemen. Let's find the Egyptians here. Oh, here somewhere. There they are. The Egyptians. Let's see. This is Crayfish. He has 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like 6 Desert Axemen. I can see. Looks like 3 Pharaoh's Guards, 4 Pharaoh's Bowmen, and 1, 2, 3, 4 Nile Cavalry. Go to the Julii Romans. They're commanded by Danish Viking. He has a really good game here. He does pretty well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Serpent cohorts, 2 Triarii, and 3 Praetorian Cav. The Brutii player, commanded by Ditto, I'm not sure how you want to pronounce that, has looks like 5 Praetorian Cav, only 1 Archer Auxilia. No, he has another Praetorian Cav, so he's got 6 Praetorian Cav. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 urban cohorts, and he has 2 Archer Auxilia. My apologies. Let's get this game rolling, guys. Now, my initial plan, I actually intended to go after the Seleucids to begin with. Well, actually, no, I take that back. I wasn't really sure whether the Brutii was going to deploy up here with me or the Seleucids were, but as you can see, neither one of them did. But I went ahead and decided to go after the Seleucids first. I gave, what's his name here? Greek fan, who commands the Seleucids. I gave him time to get up the hill and get in position, and gave him kind of an honorable little fight. I'll come back to that later. The Brutii down here, they end up moving up the hill to engage the Julii here. And that'll come just a little bit, just in a few minutes here. Crayfish, who commands the Egyptians, he's kind of left out for a few. But he eventually does fight the Julii Romans as well. Let's go back over here to me real quick. I was kind of worried because Greek fan here had so many cataphracts. I wasn't quite sure if my companions were going to be able, if my sacred bands were going to be able to match his cataphracts. But as you can see, his cataphracts don't have too many upgrades, but they do earn me 2 to 1. So he does have some good cap superiority. You know, right now it's just myself and the Seleucids who are really moving toward one another to do any fighting. We're the closest ones to fighting anyway. I think Dido wasn't sure what to do once he saw how everybody was deployed, and Personally, what I would have done, I would have came back up the hill so I could have engaged the Julii on level ground over here. But I believe he tries to go up the hill, and that kind of screws him toward the end. Well, like I said, I gave Greek fan here in command of the Seleucids a chance to get his army up here in position before I attacked him. With the exception of, I did start using my slingers on his cataphracts. I wanted to try to take them down as much as I could, since he did have the cav advantage. As you can see there, I've hit his cataphracts actually pretty hard. Now here's the moment of truth with the cavalry. He just goes ahead and charges my cav with all of his, so I really don't have much of a choice here. I go ahead and fire back at his cav, mine, and I do believe I send one of my Julii units to go help, and I'm also still targeting his cataphracts with my slingers. The infantry fight here in a second. He has a slight slope advantage on me, but again, he don't have a whole lot of upgrades on his army, so that kind of helps me in the end. And he does manage to almost rout all my cavalry units, so that didn't really help me out too much either. But in the end, you know, like I said, you'll see how this kind of plays itself out. Here I'm moving my forces forward to engage his pikes. Didn't really, I guess my idea here was once I engaged his pikes, I was going to use my slingers. Once his legionnaires came around, I was going to start just picking them off with my slingers. But eventually, once I get rid of his once I get rid of his cataphracts, I can swing back and take care of some of these silver shield legionnaires. As I said in the background, the Julii player Dido tries to go up this hill against the Julii, against the Danish Viking. That doesn't really work very well for him for the conclusion of this battle. And back here I had a routing unit of sacred bands who, along with a couple of his routing cataphract units, just kind of got caught sitting back there because they came back from routing. They're just kind of standing there. And here I did a rear charge on his Silver Shield Legionnaires. I'm coming back up with my Julii infantry to hit his flank on these pikemen here. Eventually I do rout almost his entire ground force, or pardon me, his entire infantry force. It's pretty much over. You know, I went for heavy upgrades with my army, where he went for more of a numerical advantage, which worked out in my favor. Generally, I mean, I think upgrades beat numbers any day, unless it's a barbarian army. Barbarian armies tend to have a better attack, so the more numbers you get, with barbarians you can kind of overwhelm heavily upgraded armies. That's just an observation. That's not necessarily gospel. It's just an observation I've made. And in a minute here, he suggests that we team up because the Egyptians aren't engaged yet. And I, being the nice guy that I am, and since I only have one companion cav left, I say, all right, Leo, let's go ahead and do that. You know, he seemed like he was sort of a noob, sort of a rookie player. So I gave him the benefit of the doubt, you know, here, let's go for this, and kind of show him and show him what to do, and give him a few pointers on how to do things.
Drive them from the battlefield.
We do end up kind of joining forces, and what we end up doing is swinging all the way around this ridge until we get to the Egyptians and eventually the Julii. But by the time we get there, the Egyptians are pretty much gone. The Julii, like I said, Danish Viking here did an excellent job in this battle. Let's see, go over here real quick. He's got a decent number of troops left. Like I said, he really slaughtered the Brudii. Wasn't much of a contest. He got a lot of the Brudii simply because the Brudii were just not in a favorable position. So Danish Viking just stomped them. This is really a pretty good fight here. The Egyptians, Crayfish, him and the Julii eventually fight. And it's really a pretty solid fight. So I'll just let you guys watch this for a minute and see how it plays itself out.
We're being attacked!
Give you a Julii point of view here while he's getting in position. Here are all the arrows from Pharaoh's bowmen. They're not really doing a whole lot of damage. But if Danish Viking would have put his troops into guard mode, probably wouldn't have taken any losses at all. They do take a few losses, but not very many. But looks like he's just going to go into this and go after the bad guys and try to take them down. So it seems like your guard mode doesn't work. So he's got his Triarii, in his second level, and his Praetorian Cav, what's left of it, on his third level. But as you can see, the Julii have pretty much more or less a full army. I think he had one archer unit. I'm not really sure anymore. I'm not really sure right now, but it's gone. I could be thinking of the Brudii player as well. But as you can see, here's a cav fight between the Praetorian Cav and the Nile Cavalry of Crayfish and the Egyptian army here. I believe he tried to charge in his Desert Axemen, but I think they get there a little too late. What we have here eventually is basically a Julii player just charges into the Egyptian line, and we just have this one big bloody free-for-all fight here. In the background there, you can see I'm actually trying to run to get around here faster. I actually didn't expect the Egyptians and Julii to go at it. I thought maybe they would join forces to go against me, since the Julii had already been engaged with someone. I didn't figure that they would actually fight, so that kind of killed my idea to move around here slowly. So I had to move a little faster. So what I ended up doing, I ran part of the way, then I'd walk, then I'd run some more, then I'd walk some more. I didn't want to completely tire out my forces by the time they got here. So, but this Egypt Roman fight is actually a good fight because Crayfish uses his archers extremely effectively. He just has them on skirmish mode, but he keeps them in the fight and just keeps picking off Romans, wherever he can. He really does a good job. Danish Viking, commanding the Julii here, beat the Brudii early on, and then he does an excellent job because he basically does what I did a few fights ago here on YouTube. I fought 3 armies and defeated them. He ends up fighting the Brudii and the Egyptians here, and ends up winning the fight, and just does an excellent job. I can't compliment him enough. Over here we have the Pharaoh's bowmen. Like I said, Crayfish did an excellent job, being opportunistic with his archers, hitting Roman targets wherever he could. Did a pretty good job. These Pharaoh's bodyguard, they're still here, they're still in the fight, but numbers are against them now. Here, the crayfish, the Egyptians, he tries to get a charge to save the general, but too little, too late. Eventually, it's a done deal. The general falls, and the Egyptians eventually are defeated here. So it ends up being my army, once it gets around here and looks up to the Seleucid army against the Romans. Like I said, I don't normally team in fights, but this kid seemed pretty young and sincere, so I didn't want to take the wind out of his sails, so I went ahead and told him we'd go ahead and team up to fight well, at the time it was the Egyptians, but like I said, by the time we get here, it's just
This general
Romans.
is the perfect enemy. He does not stand, but runs away. Is there any point in killing him?
And here we got the Egyptian archers just running away, or excuse me, the Pharaoh's bowmen. They're just trying to get out of Dodge, trying to move in a position to where they can use their arrows most effectively. That's really all the crayfish has left is these archers. So, as you can see, the Romans, they're completely depleted now. So when myself and the Seleucids get there, it isn't going to be much of a fight. But I saw I would post this mainly because of Danish Viking. Like I said, he defeats the Julii and defeats the Egyptians, and did a hell of a job, really. Uses units in a pretty decent manner. The only problem I saw here, by the time we get there, myself and Greek fan, commander of the Seleucids, the Roman army's exhausted. We're very tired, so it's not going to be much of a fight, and you don't have anything left. But like I said, the main reason I wanted to show this video was because of Danish Viking and him defeating a Julii opponent and defeating an Egyptian opponent, and doing very well doing it.
I can't smile upon you today. The enemy general has been killed and his men lose heart.
So this fight really wasn't about me so much. It was just about me wanting to show everyone that you can do well with whatever faction you choose. It depends on how you use the units. And Danish Viking here in command of the Julii did about as good a job as you could do against two armies, and he did an excellent job. I can't say that enough about him. But like I said, eventually I get up here, the Seleucids, excuse me, they're on top of the ridge here. They just kind of run the ridge, and they eventually engage the Romans on the ridge, and I kind of engaged them on the hill. But like I said, it wasn't much of a fight because the Roman troops were all exhausted by the end of the battle. Here, crayfish and his Egyptian archers, or his Pharaoh's bowmen, they just kind of stop and engage. They just kind of stop and crayfish and his Ferris bowman. He decides to turn around, just go ahead and fight. Not much left he can really do. I did get a few kills here on some routing Egyptians and Romans. Really not much more to tell. It's pretty much, like I said, the fight's pretty much over. What it comes down to is the Seleucid player, he charges and takes out these Triarii, and I take the rest of the Romans on the hill here. And then I kind of turn around and smash the Seleucid player, and that pretty much ends the game.
As enemies, these men are perfect. They are running from the battle in terror.
Here comes Greek fan with his silver shield legionnaires. He comes in and just charges these Triarii, takes them out. Like I said, I go up this hill and I use my slingers first. You just kind of peck away at them. And I bring in my sacred bands and my poenis and my sacred band cav and come up and just swing down the hill and just crush what's up to the Romans. Up here, guys. See my slingers just really
Enemy cowards, run! Drive them from the battlefield!
This is pretty much the fight. I started to go ahead and send a couple of my units over here to take care of the Seleucids. I knew I had to eventually anyway, so I send my slingers on the flanks to try to hit from two sides, so I really don't need to, but keeping up with military tradition and tactics.
Cowards, run! Drive them from the battlefield!
And here's your fight. Like I said, it's pretty much over here. Result screen, I got the second most kills. Now, like I said, Danish Viking did an awesome job in this game. Over 1,000 kills. Can't say enough about that. I was the last man standing, so I won the game, but kind of a cheap victory just because I was kind of out of position to deal with a lot of that. But with only 5 players, somebody was going to be sitting it out, and that's eventually what handed the victory to me. Was because the Julii army was just decimated by the time we got there. If you look at my kills, I only had 1 unit with over 100, and that was my sacred band cav here. Beyond that, it was a solid fight. Anyways, good fight to all my opponents here. Again, excellent work by Danish Viking, commanding the Julii. Any questions or comments, feel free to post them on my channel. Other than that, play with honor and bleed your enemies, guys. Have a good one.